Tonight's event is proudly sponsored by Story Community. Story Community is part of the Story Protocol, and that's a groundbreaking infrastructure layer that empowers creators to build, license, and monetize IP in a decentralized way. Whether it's characters, lore, or an entire universe, Story Protocol lets creativity thrive on chain. So a huge thanks to them for sponsoring this event and backing the Crypto Mondays Philly community and the builders who are helping shape the Web3 sphere. With that said, let's welcome Jameson, who we mostly know. He's going to talk about his journey as a developer in Web3 and the lessons he's learned the hard way. So let's give him a round of applause.
Hey everyone, I'm Jameson. I'm one of the founders of Parsa. So Parsa is a decentralized exchange for trading price ranges. But today I'm going to talk about my journey in DeFi. My whole career has actually been in DeFi, which is pretty interesting. But the purpose of this is to encourage you and maybe give you ideas on how to pursue a career in DeFi and maybe relate with some of you. So it starts in 2019. I was a junior in college. I was going to school for computer science, and my background was mainly in web development and like creative programming, like audio engineering. But I had heard of Bitcoin, but I wasn't really interested too much in finance at that point. But in 2019, I discovered Vitalik's blog, and it's really high quality writing, and he has a lot on here. And so I was reading about Ethereum, and instantly I thought Ethereum was really, really interesting, because on Ethereum, you can create these programs on top of it that are run on a distributed network, so not by a centralized person. And you can make programs immutable, so everyone knows the behavior of the system, and also censorship resistant. So yeah, ever since I learned about Ethereum, I kind of fell in love pretty quickly, and I decided I wanted to pursue a career in building with these technologies, especially because I think if I were to go into web development or something else, I would have a lot more competition. So going into emerging technology like blockchain, I thought I would have a lot more opportunities and a lot less competition, so I could probably have a lot more opportunities. So one of the first things I did in blockchain was I did a hackathon. So this was a hackathon in 2020 for Near. So Near is a L1 blockchain similar to Ethereum. And so I built the front end for this one project. We were building a decentralized exchange on Near that's similar to Uniswap. We got second place. I did the front end. We got some tokens, which was pretty cool. And after that, I did a lot of freelance stuff on this platform called Gitcoin. Now I think Gitcoin is primarily for grants, but at the time it was a lot of, you could do a lot of freelance stuff. And so I did a lot of technical writing and a little bit of coding, and got to teach myself a lot of things and also get paid a little bit for it. So I also joined this community called Kernel, and it was this 8-week program for people who were looking to break into blockchain. So I met a lot of cool people there and got to hear from a lot of builders. So also around this time, it was 2020. There was this protocol on Ethereum called Compound, which is a decentralized lending and borrowing platform. And in summer of 2020, they launched this token, and it kickstarted what's called DeFi Summer. So this token was both a governance token, and you could also farm it by participating in the protocol. And so we saw this really interesting, this whole summer, a lot of new things were coming out, a lot of new ways of earning yield and trading, and it was all uniquely enabled by blockchain. So I also joined this one company, and I found it on AngelList, which is like a job listing for startups. And here I got to work on carbon accounting NFTs and DAO. And it was largely just proof of concept stuff, but here I really learned how to develop for Ethereum, and it was really fun. So a few months later, and I joined Flux. So I saw one developer. He was the founder of this protocol. He tweeted out like, "Hey, I'm looking for people to join my company," and they had just raised all this money, and they were also building on Near, which I had experience for. So I was thought it would be a good fit. So I joined them pretty after they raised some money, and there's me on, this is CoinDesk. Here's my current co-founder, and I'll talk about him in a sec. So with Flux, they were building a prediction market, and then they were in the process of pivoting to building Oracle infrastructure. And so I got to work on a lot of, and by the way, what an Oracle is basically submitting data from the outside world into the blockchains to be used in like a way that you can trust the data. And so at one point in time, we were building on Near, and we also built on Aurora, which was like an EVM layer, an Ethereum compatible layer on top of Near. And at one point in time, it held a few $1 billion in value, and I thought that was really neat because I was only like 24, 25, and some of my code was securing billions of dollars. So yeah, like definitely validated my choice to go into DeFi, because a lot of cool stuff like this can happen that you just wouldn't expect. So I also helped out with like their token launch. I wrote the token contract. They eventually rebranded to SATA and moved to a Cosmos chain, which is like an app chain instead of building on top of an existing chain. So I helped a lot with those smart contracts and the token migration contracts. But so I worked there for 4 years. But towards the end, I was getting kind of restless and frustrated because I felt that I wasn't developing the skills that I necessarily wanted to. Data is like an infrastructure product, and it's very technical, which is really cool. But I was wanting to build more. I felt the desire to build more tangible products, use a little bit more of my like web development skills and creative skills. So I started this project called Parsa as a side project, and yeah, it was started by me and one of my former coworkers at SATA, and we also met this mathematician in a Telegram group, and he wrote the initial protocol, and so we teamed up to build this. So I was scratching that itch of building like the full product instead of just like a lot of back end stuff, which is really fun. And yeah, about a year ago, I left my job at SATA after 4 years to go full time on this, because I had a lot of conviction that this could be really successful. And I think it really captures the spirit of 2020's DeFi summer, where we have all this experimentation of financial products that are uniquely enabled by blockchain. So yeah, that brings us to, or I just wanted to show some of these like pictures of what Parsa looked like when it was under development. It's we marketed it as a few different things. Like I said at the beginning, it's a platform where you can basically bet on where you think the price of something is going to go within a range. And so we called it a prediction market. We called it a derivatives exchange. We called it a lot of stuff, trying to see what sticks. So this was like I think a little over a year ago, and then this is what it looks like today. So we launched about a month ago, and yeah, it's going well. I think our biggest struggle right now is just distribution. We have a few users that really like the protocol. Like we have like 3 or 4 users in the last day that are all trading like pretty frequently. I think it's just a matter of getting it in front of more people and refining the product. But yeah, so also we were on Base and then later Berachain, but we moved to Solana about in November for largely technical reasons. We wrote an article on it, why here, mainly like that we needed high performance requirements, and I just thought that was interesting to note. But yeah, so like that just leads to like some of the lessons I've learned while building in DeFi. I think the most important is to align yourself with people that share your values, because there's a lot of nonsense in this industry, and there's a lot of people who are purely monetarily um, incentivized, and that's fine for some people. But if I listen to those people too much, or I pay attention to those people too much, I get really jaded. So I'm really lucky to have really great co-founders that share my values, and that I listen to a lot of the right people on social media, instead of like listening to all the noise. Um, Another kind of unfortunate thing about building in DeFi is that it's kind of low status to the outside world. So I made this tweet the other day of like one of the replies on a Parsa tweet, and you can just see all this spam of like, hey, check your DMs, and this is like all of Twitter, all of crypto Twitter is all of this like scamming and spamming, and it's really annoying. But like, this is why outsiders to crypto have such a bad perception of crypto, because this is all they see when crypto at all is mentioned. Also in the news, they only cover like the bad things, like hacks and fraud and scams, and that sucks. But that's why going back to like surrounding yourself with high with people who hold strong values, that not just monetary values or incentives, but so it's just important for me to be like a good role model to outsiders who are like looking in. And yeah, so I'd also recommend definitely starting side projects. Like every job I've ever gotten was because I started side projects, and it really all started with this near hackathon. So yeah, you never know where it's going to go. Like you're always going to learn something with the side project, and it's going to connect you with people that could be really helpful later down the line. A more like founder specific lesson I learned is that everything is way harder, and it's going to take way longer than you think it's going to take. Especially as a programmer, like we're really prone to underestimating tasks. So I would just say like being a full-time founder isn't like for everyone, and that's okay. You got to be kind of crazy to do it, because it's really hard and it's really demotivating at times. But yeah, last point I would say, um, over the last year I've been using LLMs a lot in my development. I actually don't even do much straight up coding anymore. I just write specifications and then I feed it into the LLMs. And this way it's like having an employee for $20 a month. So I'd recommend, like, I think if you want to keep up and you want to be really, really productive, like you have to use LLMs. And you can use it in a way that makes you more productive instead of lazier. So yeah, I just want to encourage that. But that's all. So thank you.
All right. Any questions, guys?
Oh, yeah.
We got lots of questions.
The bad reputation of DeFi is like a lot of people just lose money in it.
I mean, yeah, but I think it's more so social media, like what you see on news and social media. I mean, yeah, people do lose money on it, but like outsiders aren't really trading, so they're just like looking at what they see online. But,
What they see online is exactly what attracts me to crypto and degeneracy is exactly what I love about the space.
well, yeah, I think you can concentrate like degeneracy, like that's 2020 DeFi summer is like that's degeneracy, but in like a good concentrated way, not like a scammy way. I would say, like, I'm talking more about like the bad perception is like in the news about hacks and fraud, and every time you open up like a crypto podcast on YouTube, all the comments are like, oh, let's buy this random meme coin that someone paid for all these spam messages for.
I would blame all the people that are in it for the money or in kind of like things that are not fair.
Yeah, I mean, I get along with people who hold more of those cypherpunk values than the people who come from traditional finance. I mean, a lot of people from traditional finance do share the same values for me, but like generally, I vibe more with like the cypherpunk, more like tech oriented people generally.
What are the values?
Just like that technology can improve like the socioeconomic systems, not necessarily just like max value extraction, but like governance systems and just like making society trust each other more, because like makes finance just make the cost to trust someone a lot less essentially. Yep.
I agree with the degeneracy for the industry. What was like your motivation or inspiration for pricing?
For what?
For your pricing?
Oh yeah. Yeah, like that's a great question. So the original spec was written by my co-founder, and he was grappling with the problem of options. Options trading is really complicated, and it's not very common in DeFi, like compared to perpetual futures. So he made this paper that basically solves a lot of these issues and simplifies options while keeping like most of the power they maintain, but having like a really simple UX. Like when you open a position on our platform, you like enter some USDC, you select a range, and you can see like what's the funding rate. Like right now, I can make, if I bet the price of Sol is like going to be between like let's see 170 175, I can get a few percent every day, and it changes based on market conditions. But see, this is more powerful than perpetual futures, which are just long or short, because you can be really granular in how like how you predict where the price is going to be. The what? No, so this is it's perpetual. So you can open and close these positions anytime. That's another like challenge this solves over traditional options. Is the options have different strike prices and different expiries, and each of those contracts has its own liquidity. But here, all this liquidity is shared across this entire market. So whenever you deposit in the money, like that's the total open interest is like the yeah, it's all shared within the market. So it makes it easier to bootstrap these markets. Oh, that's a good question. You're putting me on the spot. I don't know. I'm blanking. I wrote down all my lessons. Yeah, sorry. I'm blanking. The hardest part is just the uncertainty, and like your mood is like up and down and up and down. Like one moment you're feeling like, oh, this is going great. Next moment you're just wanting to die because like things aren't going your way. Things are so hard. Not having a stable income kind of sucks.
What was your lowest month? What has been your lowest month?
Honestly, right now, it's like now, because we launched a month ago, and we're not growing as fast as I want, and it's just because like the marketing stuff isn't really my skill set. So it's been a learning lesson, but I'm still optimistic about the future. Like I think we just have to be really creative and work really hard, and we'll get there. And worst case, this doesn't work out, and like I'll try something else. So like I'll be fine no matter what. But what am I? I mean, right now I'm reaching out to a lot of people just by messaging them, and I'll look at their profile and see, oh, they're interested in this prediction market or this derivatives platform, and then I message them and say, hey, you might find us interesting because we're like this, except we have this more powerful thing that you can do. And then like we got like we're on the Solana blockchain, so we've been working with the foundation to get them to redistribute some of our messaging. So So it's like both finding the individual users and then finding the people with more distribution. But it's just really hard. It's like, it's a lot, like, and your hit rate isn't very large, of course. Like, I'll message 50 people and maybe get, 5 responses or something. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. And those 5 users who do answer, usually they're pretty valuable. So like, it does keep me want to keep going. But yeah, usually Twitter, Telegram, like Twitter and Telegram are like the biggest platforms for crypto.
The right contact's a great idea. Obviously, not you get 5 and another 5 if they're like
Yeah,
have a network. Say, guys, you gotta check this
yeah.
out.
And we're piloting a referral code system. So we're giving out referral codes, and then if you give them to someone, you can earn 20% of the fees they generate. So that's a further incentive to share it. So yeah, just a lot of hard work. There's no easy, there's no easy way to do it.
Now that you've launched, is it like, okay, cool, it's like a certain plateau that I can pivot, now spend 10% of my time on marketing, it's now 55% of my
Yeah,
time
yeah. I mean,
something.
I don't spend as much of my time on development anymore. Like it's probably like half business marketing stuff and half still tech stuff, because we do want to keep the product, like keep updates coming so that people feel confident in our growth and everything.
Yeah.
We're working on automated strategies, so you'll be able to select a range and then have your range follow the price. So things that like just make it even more powerful and more attractive to use.
Yeah.
How long did it take you?
Yeah. So Natish was one of my coworker. He was also one of the early employees at Flux. We developed a pretty good relationship early on. We met David, who is the mathematician and who wrote the specification for range perps. We met him in like a DeFi Telegram group, and he had a lot of confidence in us to build the platform because we had shown previous shipping experience. So yeah, we just teamed up and we've been building it for like 2 years or so. And it's just been us. Like, we haven't hired any employees unless you want to count like Cursor as our employee. Just been us.
How'd you find out that the dude was legit?
We could just
like, oh, I found something in the Telegram chat. So how did
well, we could just tell, like, he was very smart, and he would always ask really thought-provoking questions, and kind of immediately, like, we knew, like, this, yeah, he's special. Like, he knows what he's talking about. And then when he shared the specification for us, it was like, wow. I didn't understand it fully at first, but even now, like, I'm discovering these really interesting properties about the system. Like one really interesting thing is that this is also, in an efficient market, this is a probability distribution of where the market thinks that the price is going to go. So if the market, so like right now, if right now the market's probably not very efficient because we have such low volumes. But for example, you could see that maybe in an efficient market, this tick price chart is kind of overweight to the upper end, which means that the market is pricing in that the market's predicting that the price is going to continue going up. So I think that's a really interesting, like, mathematical property. So you could use this, like, even if you're not a trader, you could use this to gauge where does the market think that the price of this thing is going, and then maybe you make some other decision on some other platform based on that. So in a way, it's kind of like it's a public good. But Vitalik had this article on info finance and how prediction markets for non-participants can be really like sources of news essentially. And so, in a way, that's kind of similar. Like, to outsiders, this is like a form of news, assuming that the market's pretty efficient. Right now, we have some like liquidity that's still kind of old because these people haven't closed their positions, and so it's being redistributed to to these ticks that are near the current price. And you can learn about the platform, by the way, parsa.finance. Like there's really two mechanisms that describe how it works here, but I won't get into it because, yeah.
So is it this mathematician?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we have a Telegram group. We're all in it. So if you ever have questions, feel free to join. No, because we don't want to fragment our community too much. We want to keep it like in one place for right now.
Text me those links, and when I do the recap, I'll
Yeah. Unfortunately, not right now. Is this?
It's illegal in America.
Yeah. Just right. I mean, I'm optimistic that the new CFTC is going to eventually provide us a framework, but right now we're just being on the cautious side. What? I mean, maybe. It's hard to say. Like, I mean, of course, most of our audience right now, our target users, international, and I mean, I don't have any geo tracking statistics or anything because it's crypto, and I also don't care. But yeah, I mean, if it does come to the U.S., that could be helpful. It's in Panama.
I see where it says how funding works. Out of the money ticks in gray. Where is that on the other actual screen? I didn't see right where.
Yeah, so if I go here, this tick right here contains.
Oh, that's the orange.
Yeah, and then this is my selection, and so all of these ticks are paying into in the money tick every minute. So that's redistributing liquidity to where the current price is.
Wait, you're saying green is in the money?
Green is my selection. The orange is in the money. It's kind of hard to see because it's small, but
when you say gray, is that white? Does that mean gray?
it looks white here. I think it's gray though.
That's what you mean.
Yeah.
That's gray. Okay.
Yeah, basically everything other than the orange is pinged orange. And we also have profile pictures. So this guy's a crab. So it was mainly because on most EVM networks, they can't handle the performance requirements we need. So while we were building on Berachain, we had an off-chain component, which was not fully non-custodial because we were still figuring that stuff out. But so that we could be fully DeFi, fully non-custodial, we decided to just put it all on one smart contract instead of having a more complicated design with maybe like using a different blockchain. And also DeFi is growing pretty fast on Solana, so that's a bonus. But it was mainly just like performance requirements, and we have an article on it here. Yeah, high performance. Cool.
Any other questions?
Well, the profile pictures, they automatically generate it?
Yeah, there's presets. You can